What up? What's goody? Let me zoom this in, man. Have my face big on here. Have not done a live in a minute. Have not done a live. Of course, you're going to this lane, man. Have not done a live in a second. Let me make some maneuvers real quick. Because of course, as soon as I would try to do the live, somebody tailgate me like immediately. You know. And it's always bright going down this route, so let me switch these glasses up to these shades with not a prescription, but they got a magnifying on them. My lovely lady got them for me. Put these on. Got the old man. When you get old, man, the light hurts. The sound hurts. The light hurts. The bones hurt, thoughts hurt, everything is painful. But yeah, the Charlie Kirk, man, I'm not gonna say I wasn't gonna go live about this. I just haven't gone live in forever. And I really wanted to talk about this. First of all, you know, I made a slight joke, and I don't know, my page is so shadow banned, like nobody's probably gonna watch this. But my page is so shadow banned that like nothing I do gets any type of traction. Like nothing. But I made a joke and I said, you know what's the best way to upstage a national tragedy? I said get assassinated the day before. You know. I think that's a good joke. Because it's not even like I'm poking fun at the situation. Charlie Kirk's assassination did upstage 9/11 because on 9/11, on my timeline, the most things I saw were people just giving their thoughts on Charlie Kirk's death. And I can understand why, you know, 9/11 happened, what we in 2025, so that happened 24 years ago. To a lot of the young people that even use the internet and things of that nature, they weren't even around. So I get why it's not as popular. It's just like in the 90s, you know, I wasn't talking about Vietnam. It's something I heard about. So I kind of get it. And then when you see something so visceral happen on television with so many people around, you know, like it just happened on the 10th. So obviously it's going to be fresh and it's going to be fresh in everybody's minds, you know. I understand that. And my thoughts on him passing, I've seen this stuff here and there. I'm not too emotionally, like people that spit right wing or extreme right wing rhetoric, or people that spit things that may be perceived as anti this, anti that, anti-black, anti-gay, whatever. I don't let that emotionally bother me, especially on it's because it's the internet, and it's literally something that you turn off. Like in order to like develop a hatred towards somebody, as far as what they say on the internet, you literally have to watch it over and over and over and over again. So after a while, it's like, do you hate that person because of the words that they say, or is your hate generated because you keep consuming it over and over and over and over again? Like a lot of us are masochists. A lot of us have a God complex that nobody's allowed to say anything that is against something that we stand for, something that we don't like, you know. And a lot of us, our lives are so mundane that like we don't really have much going on in our lives. So the main thing that we have going on in our lives is the hatred and the chastisement of other individuals, you know. And I'm only speaking for individuals who are coming from that perspective, you know. Like when I made the post, I made another post saying like we all have an expiration date. All of us gonna die someday. Like when somebody passes away that people don't like, people be cheering and yay, like they're so excited as if you don't have a time that's coming as well. people act like death is just something that befalls some people. No. It is something that befalls every single last one of us. Now, again, I'm not knocking it. If you're happy about it and it makes you feel good, by all means. My question is, what do we teach our youth? What do we teach our children? First of all, we shouldn't teach them hate in general. We should teach people to live and let live, be who you are, as long as who you are is not hindering or impeding somebody else. And that's one thing we should teach. And the second thing we should teach our children is it's not cool to take somebody's life just because they say words that you don't agree with. Especially if it's somebody you don't even know. Now, I can see if somebody was saying it directly to you. A lot of us, we watch the internet and we watch these different YouTube channels and etc. And I'm a culprit of it as well. You watch somebody so much that after a while you feel like you know them, especially if they're speaking things that resonate with you, whether negative or positive. You feel like you know them, and you feel like you have some type of an emotional connection to these individuals, like they're like a friend or a family member or an actual enemy. And a lot of times, you gotta realize it's a screen that we're looking at. Like right now, y'all watching me right now, it's a screen. Over the years, before Facebook got so censored, especially like in 2012, it was like the Wild Wild West. You could pretty much just say anything, any type of racial epithet, any type of slur, and nothing would happen, and emotions would get stirred up, and cats would beef. Like we would have roasters groups and stuff like that, and it would start off as fun and games, and then a lot of people would know each other locally, and then they would take the roast and then transform it into something personal, and then start telling like real information, and it goes from let's see who can be the most clever with their comedy to let's see who can say the most embarrassing thing about the other person. And to me, that's not roasting. Like that's one problem I have with the whole roasting thing is if I'm gonna roast you, I'm gonna look at what's in front of your shades, your shirt, how you look, boom. But to delve into your background and just say something to make you embarrassed. Like when I say a roast, I try to say something to make the other individual laugh. I don't try to say something to embarrass you, but at any rate, I'm digressing. Let me get back. What I was saying was a lot of real emotions would stir up from people just going back and forth online, and it would transform into real life ramifications. Like people, oh yo, I know you live on this street right here. I know you live on the corner of this and this, and they would just show up and videotaping fights and shootings and all this crazy stuff. But it all stems from us looking at this screen over and over and over again, looking at something that we don't like over and over and over again. And though you may not like whatever that individual is saying, you are adding wood to the fire of negative emotions inside of it. Like, you already don't like this individual, so you keep going back to their page and you keep looking at their rhetoric and you keep ingesting everything that they're saying. This person don't even know you, but you're developing hatred and more hatred, consuming their stuff, hatred and hatred. Like, it's like, do you enjoy the hatred? Anybody that I don't like, that I don't enjoy online, I may see their posts once or twice. I ain't rocking with that. I just turn it off. There was I think she's still around. She's just banned from YouTube, and her name was Cynthia G. And she's a black woman. She wears a ridiculous weave. They call her Synthetic G as a nickname. And her whole shtick, people would say she's like the female version of Tommy Sotomayor, but I think she's extremely worse. And all she does is bash black men and say they have to die. All this crazy thing. And I've never went to her channel, but I've seen her on various spaces and groups, just talking and spitting her rhetoric. I don't like what she says. I don't enjoy her message. So you know what I don't do? I don't actively seek her out. The only reason why I'm even mentioning Cynthia G, because I was watching a podcast the other day with a group of individuals and they just happened to mention her name. That's how much I don't think about her. But if I kept watching something that I don't like over and over and over and over again, that would have stirred up emotions inside of me. And eventually, either I would want to do something to that individual who doesn't know me, or I probably want to incite an individual to do something against somebody that doesn't know me. And that's the thing with this Charlie Kirk situation, man. A lot of people, he gonna say what he gonna say. Who you deem as racist, they're gonna continue to spit their racist rhetoric, whatever. It's not like it's being forced down your throat or forced in your eye. You don't gotta listen to none of this bull. You could just turn the channel. Every time you can block all the accounts and just not look at it. Honestly, I was not thinking about Charlie Kirk until he got assassinated. I know he had a big deal to do with Trump getting into office because he was a younger man, conservative, and he influenced a lot of younger individuals on the conservative side of the game. He would go to college campuses, he would have debates, he would give you a chance to speak, leave the microphone there, he wouldn't curse at you or nothing like that. He just had extreme right views. That would bother people, but somebody having a view shouldn't stir your emotions to the point where you want that person to die. Why not want that person to either A, come to an understanding, or B, you just don't consume their information anymore. Like I deliver to a lot of, I deliver chemicals to college campuses right now, right? And Charlie Kirk would go to different college campuses and speak. Now, if I was a college student and I knew I didn't like a certain speaker or a certain act, you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to go to the event. Why? Because it's going to stir up my emotions. It's going to make me upset. And it's probably going to trigger me to either say something or do something or incite something. So I just stay away from the situation. I don't understand why people think that is so difficult to do. This stuff that you're watching right here, you don't have to look at it. You don't have to consume it. As is evidenced by how low views that I have. People know they don't got to look at what I got to put out because they not watching me. I guess I'm not as polarizing enough, or I guess I don't say as crazy enough things I used to back in the days, but just got tired of arguing with people going back and forth. Like, are people really trying to come to an understanding on the internet that are debating and going back and forth? I guess it's like a minute few, but for the most part, people not trying to come to an understanding. The First Amendment is freedom of speech. First Amendment in America, the most important thing as an American, if you are an American citizen, the most important thing of you being an American citizen is your freedom to say whatever you want. Now, you know, obviously there's limitations, you know, within reason. Like you can't incite things, you can't say fire a bomb at an airport, you know, but for the most part, you know, expressing ideas, not just saying triggering things to incite people. But you get what I'm saying. And maybe there, I don't know the amendments specifically, or the actual First Amendment actually written out completely. Maybe it touches on, you know, you have the right to say whatever, you know, within reason. Because yeah, you can't go into the White House and say, I'm about to get a president. You can't say nothing like that. Like your ass gonna get arrested. You know what I mean? So you can't incite. You can't say bomb or fire in a movie theater, or at a train station, a bus station, an airport. You can't say something that's immediately going to trigger people and put them in danger and cause a stampede. But I'm saying First Amendment, it just means freedom of ideas. I have the freedom to believe in the type of God that I want to believe in. I have the freedom to express my opinion of what I think a better type of government is. I have the freedom to believe or express my opinion in how the Treasury should be run. I have a freedom to express the opinion of how education should be. Those types of things. Not, You know, you get what I'm saying? I don't want to elaborate on the negative. But if somebody has an opinion of how education should be different than yours, and it pisses you off, like somebody could say, oh, public schools, that's not the way. It harbors rudimentary mindsets, and you know the reason why we have so many criminals in America is because of public schooling. We have to totally eliminate public schooling across the board, and we only want children being taught by their parents or their guardians or whoever at home. That's it. Like this law is passed, you know, or somebody is really, really pushing for this, and then you have some teacher who this is all they know, and they enjoy the public school system, and they're watching this person spit this rhetoric of how public schooling should be completely eliminated and it should only be homeschooling, and this person keeps consuming this teacher he keeps consuming this information that they are diametrically opposed to, and they're building up this hate and festering, and eventually they go out to one of these speaking engagements that this person that is anti-public school is attending, and then they take their life, or they incite somebody to take their life. Oh, turn the channel, man. Turn it on. You don't have to constantly consume the content of individuals that you don't like. Why do individuals do this? Why do y'all constantly watch over and over again stuff that you don't like? It's like rage watching. Like some people go to concerts, like some people will not like an artist, and they will literally constantly buy tickets and go to different artists' concerts just to boo them. It just makes them feel good to sit there and be negative. Boo, boo. You hate Charlie Kirk, right? But you know what's funny? A lot of people that say, and like I said, I don't hate, I don't love, I'm indifferent. I'm just speaking objectively. But I see all these people, they took this opportunity of Charlie Kirk getting assassinated. If you look at their profile, if you look at their timeline, they never spoke about this dude ever in their life. Ever. The only reason why they're speaking about it, because it's a big news story. That's the only reason why I'm speaking about it, because it's a big news story. I'm a culprit as well. But they never spoke about it, ever. And a lot of times their pages is always negative. You know, take the opportunity to share posts of an individual that is the antithesis of Charlie Kirk. You know what? Charlie Kirk passed away. Blah, blah, blah. I didn't rock with his rhetoric, and, you know, he said a lot of hateful things, this and that. But you know who's a good alternative for that individual that you should be watching? This person. You should be entertaining this person, watching this person needs to get a lot of shit. If you're going to use his death as a springboard to your message, why not align it, not just the hate of him, but the love of somebody else that is a positive alternative? You won't do that. You know, because it requires too much effort to actually try to repair and build something. It's easy to hop on somebody's platform that you deem you don't like, especially somebody that got millions upon millions of followers, because let's not get it twisted. A lot of folks, individuals, myself included, are clout chasers. And one of the biggest ways to catch clout, get clout, is when somebody famous passes away and you just make some type of big statement on his post, whether it's something very positive or whether it's something very negative. You know what I mean? A person should never have to be shot. Regardless if you hate him or not, man. Getting shot in front of your family, your wife and kids, when you were just at a speaking engagement, a debate that you put together. This is your claim to fame. You go to different college campuses, you go to leftist college campuses as a right-wing individual to try to talk and come to a common understanding. There's nothing wrong with that. If you think that a person who's not being violent towards you, who's not inciting anything towards you, but they have a rhetoric that is diametrically opposed to yours, but they're willing to have a debate and a discussion. If they're willing to have a debate and a discussion, that means they are open to change, because if you have a better angle, or if you present a better argument, and these persons or these individuals are truly logical, you can actually change them, or you can actually help them to see your point of view. I saw when Charlie Kirk did the Jubilee, when Jubilee is usually like one person in the middle, and it's like 20 people that is against their views, and it's like a speed dating version, like a rapping debate. And a couple of people, he was like, oh, you know what? I didn't think about it like that. You know, he agreed with a couple of them. You know, and I'm not trying to make this dude a saint or anything like that, but if somebody ain't coming at you with a gun, and they have some crazy views, but they're willing to have a discussion or a conversation with you, why not just sit down and have the discussion and the conversation with them? Like, nah, you should just die. Really? That's it? Just take their life? They didn't say, oh, you know what? You're black, you're gay, you're trans, so you need to die. He may have said extreme things like certain groups are detriment to society, blah blah blah. And I'm not even going to get into that. That's not the point. But still, saying something like that is not reason enough to take that person's life. They could say, I'll give an example. Gays are a detriment to society. That's one thing that he said. Gays are a detriment to society. And then you, as a gay person, you can either agree with that, which you won't. More than likely you won't. You can get mad and say, oh, that's some hateful stuff, I'm gonna kill you. Or, no, I'm just giving an example, Cole. You never said, I'm giving an example. Or you can say, I see what you're saying, but you are wrong, and this is the reason why. You can run some statistic that said gay individuals only make up like 1% of the population, or whatever small fracture of minute number that is, and how could something so minute be so detrimental? Whatever, that's when you go in. You break down numbers, you break down statistics, you present a logical argument, you lay it out all on the table, and somehow, hopefully you meet somewhere in the middle. Not, oh my God, he said something that I hate, so he needs to die. Or there was another video that somebody dropped where he was saying, he was basically saying about a lot of DEI hires, and how a lot of people, a lot of people that aren't white have gotten hired in positions, not because of their skills or their merit, but because of these programs. Like, they need certain quotas to fill and DUI, and which is absolutely true. This is the truth. But he was saying how some individuals were bragging, some black individuals were bragging that they got hired because of DEI, and taunted because I don't know how true this is. I'm just saying what he's saying. Now, if he says something like, people should be hired based on merit and based on their skills and based on their ability, not the color of their skin, he's absolutely right. But on the flip side, as far as nepotism, and as far as, people just have a tendency to hire people that look like themselves. That's why DEI and things of that nature was put in place in the first place, to kind of offset that. But what happened was people did the opposite of the extreme. You need to find an even medium. You're gonna have a tendency to hire who tends to look more like you. That's just how human beings are. We're tribal by nature. But at the same token, you're not going to hire no dummy either. You need balance to that. At any rate, but him saying individuals should be hired on merit, not based on DEI. But, nah, I don't believe that. You should die. Like, no. Don't say he should die or incite death. Be like, well, in actuality, the reason why this was put into place, because in the 60s and the 50s and 40s and so forth, a lot of people were cut out because of the color of their skin. So to balance that, people need to be cut in because of the color of their skin. But I think, to add a caveat to that, not only should they have an advantage because of the color of their skin, because for so many years they didn't have an advantage, but you still got to be qualified. Like, if you have two 25-year-olds trying to go into some type of workforce, some type of tech force, whatever, some type of IT. One person's a black 25-year-old, one person's a white 25-year-old. They both have equal amount of ability, equal amount of skill, equal amount of education. It sucks, but the fact that the black individual comes from a situation where his parents, his forefathers, and his ancestors were put at a disadvantage and were held out in certain situations just because of the color of their skin, the chickens coming home to roost, so to speak. If those two 25 individuals, black 25-year-old, white 25-year-old, same education, same credentials, same experience, same job, to me, that's where DEI is fair in that one particular instance. But if the 25-year-old is far more advanced, the white 25-year-old has more education, more experience, more advanced, and the 25 black student or black candidate is not as educated, not as advanced, and you just hire them just because they black, but you're taking on a lesser worker, nah, that's not cool. I don't agree with that. At the minimum, if you're going to use DEI, the black candidate should be have equal credentials and equal education as the white candidate. So in that instance, I agree with DUI. That's funny, DUI, I'm drinking too. But I'm drinking juice with a little bit of Metamucil because I'm old. But in that instance, in the instance of if they both have equal education, equal experience, one's black, one is white, and there's a DEI in place, well, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You got to give the black candidate the nod first, because the white individual had all the advantages that coming up without being shut out because of the color of their skin. Not all jobs have DEI practices. If you are a prospective white candidate, maybe that's something that you should research into before you go into a job. If they have these DEI practices, you know what? They have DEI practices. I don't know if they're fairly using them, so I would rather not put my name in the hat of this respective company. But even still, a person giving their opinion on DEI, that should mean in deficit. And here's the thing, too. This is what I wanted to touch on, man. People are so happy that he got killed, right? And if you're happy, I understand that. But what exactly does it stop? It stopped his life, right? Now his kids don't have no father. His wife doesn't have a husband. Who knows what his kids are going to go to? Who knows what type of vices that they're going to give into? You know what I mean? But whatever. People, black people, black fathers have been taken away from families and stuff all the time. So, it's what happened. But this dude had a huge platform. He had a polarizing message. Huge platform, polarizing message. You take away his physical shell, does it take away the message? No. Does it make individuals that think like him stop thinking like him? No. Does it silence his voice over the airwaves? No. Unless you start scrubbing all of his stuff off the internet and deleting everything, every video that exists of him. No. So what exactly did taking his life solve? It made him a martyr, if you ask me. It made his message that much more powerful. Taking his life. Now they got this martyr. Now they're it's great. They're mentioning him in the same vein. Like they say, he's like the white Malcolm X. He's like the white doctor. Y'all done made him the white, not y'all and whoever that did it. And they say a white person is a person of interest. Whether he's liberal, conservative, who knows? Sometimes they do Trojan horse things to make you think one side did it when in actuality it was the same side to incite a certain thing to make it more powerful. Sometimes it takes an important person dying within a movement to make that movement that much more powerful. And shit is deep. Shit goes a lot deeper than what we see. And then somehow, some racists, they try to spin it and make it seem like black folks had something to do with this. Black people ain't had nothing to do with this at all whatsoever. This is not our fight. Just like I said a couple of years ago, when the Kyle Rittenhouse situation, when it first went down, and they left it like real murky as far as who he killed. they had us thinking that Kyle Rittenhouse murdered black people, but it wound up being white on white crime. I was like, that is not us, man. That ain't got nothing to do with us, man. White folks been killing each other since the beginning of time. You know what I'm saying? A white man killed Abraham Lincoln. A white man killed every president that was ever shot or assassinated was at the hands of a white person. You know what I'm saying? They talk about gang like in Chicago and Baltimore and stuff like that. Yes, there are a lot of senseless, frivolous murders that are publicized amongst black people because white folks be killing each other too. They just don't publicize it as much because it's a narrative that's put out there. But yeah, there's a lot of senseless, frivolous murders amongst black folks, man. But when white folks kill each other, they be assassinating. They be taking out people of influence and power, man. That joke is wild, man. There's no comparison. You know, 54 people shot over Labor Day weekend. It pales in comparison to a person of influence being killed live on television. That's a whole different level, man. But death is death, and murder is murder, and killing is killing, right? Killing being a solution over words is wild to me, man. Not only should you, first of all, you shouldn't be saying crazy ass rhetoric, but if you're gonna say it, you're gonna say it. But even worse than that, man, is just taking somebody's life because of what they say, man. Doesn't stop their message. Doesn't change anything. You just spent every single one of us has an expiration date on this planet. Now, I have a whole different idea as far as death. I don't even like using the word death. I call it transformation. I believe that energy can't be created nor destroyed. I believe that the matter that composes us is just as eternal as all the matter that's in the universe. And once we pass on, the atoms get recycled into something else, and the consciousness will arise in something else. You know what I'm saying? And that's still the atoms that composed us. We'll just be in something else. So that's my whole mindset. I got a whole different philosophy. That's why I don't even get caught up in the politics and racism, the black. I don't get caught up in none of that because I think far way beyond that. But I know I'm not an alien as far as I know, and I'm on this planet, and I have to adapt to certain customs and talk and speak in ways that you guys can understand. So, you know, I leave myself at a certain point so that I could be understood. But we all have an expiration date. And just laughing just because somebody got to that point faster than you, somebody gonna laugh at you when you pass away too. And like I said, if that's what you do, cool. But if you laughing like what's the prize? What present did you get? Why are you so happy? Your life is that bad that somebody who you don't like, that you masochistically watch over and over again, make you feel bad and make you want to incite something. Somebody that you don't like passes away, and your life is that low that it took that individual something negative to make you feel good. You gotta check yourself, man. Pain, death, destruction, despair, that is a fuel of joy for you. If it is, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, man, there's a lot of more things on this earth to be joyful for than individuals who you don't rock with passing away. It's just like when Kevin Samuels passed away. All these women, all these single mothers and obese moms and gay dudes, they was cheering and all that. I wouldn't even say gay guys, but just simp dudes was cheering that he passed away. But it's like the fat, the obese chick. Kevin Samuels passed away, and you so happy you're still obese. Kevin Samuels passed away, and you so happy you still got 7 baby daddies and you live in the projects. Kevin Samuels passed away, and you so happy, but you're still in public assistance. You're happy over something that's going to happen to every single last one of us, man. Maybe not in that fashion in particular, but we do have a transition date. Every single last one. So it just confuses me when people. Now, if somebody's in the act of doing something crazy, like when a Dylan Roof or somebody like that goes into a church, shooting up a church, and then he gets shot, yes, I'm happy that person that got taken out, because somebody like that, they don't need to be on this planet, man. Like somebody that is going out there and doing, like physically doing heinous things to people, and they get taken out. Like, these are demonic people. I don't even see them as human beings. I see them as demons that need to be dispatched. So we have a way to exercise the demonic nature out of humans. You know, I guess the quickest, you know, or the best solution that we have is to either, you know, lock people away or just take them out. But we're not even talking about that issue. We're just talking about people that are having open forums and discussions amongst individuals that don't agree with the way that they agree, amongst individuals that don't believe the things that they believe. That's one thing. See, a lot of people, they get into these discussions and these panels, and they only surround themselves with individuals that agree with them, and they just basically having a circle jerk of similar beliefs. And you can't really grow if everybody around you thinks exactly the same way you do. Charlie Kirk, man, one thing I give him props for is, like, he threw himself in a lion's pit every single time, and eventually it cost him his life. You know, you would think that you should be safe on a college campus, but you know, anybody can die anywhere. They done had shootings at elementary schools, shootings in movie theaters, shootings at concerts, shootings in church. Only thing I ain't see no shooting is in the Whole Foods. Y'all better not shoot up the Whole Foods, man. I'm trying to get, listen, I got bad intestines. I'm trying to get my kombucha, my quinoa, my kimchi, my probiotics. That's all I want. I don't want to die in the supermarket, man. I'm just trying to make my intestines improve for this little bit of life that I have left. That's all. But to those that are happy that he died, my question to you is, do you teach your children, do you teach the youth that it is okay to take out somebody's life just because they say things that you don't like? And I'm not even saying it's individuals that they know in real life. I'm talking about individuals that they watch on the internet. That's my question to y'all. Is that okay? Would you advise your children? Would you advise your child growing up, you know what? If somebody says something that you don't like and you don't enjoy, it is okay to take their life. No, you wouldn't say that's okay. You wouldn't say that's okay. Man, this motherfucker's whack, yo. No, you wouldn't say that's okay. The answer to the question is no, you wouldn't. So if you wouldn't say that's okay, why are you expressing joy and elation for somebody whose life was taken just because he willfully went into environments where people didn't agree with him just to have a conversation? To first of all, you know, for entertainment purposes and to potentially come to a common ground. No, man. I don't know, man. You could go all up and down my timeline. You could go. Oh shit. I'm about to say you could go all up and down my timeline, and you'll never see an instance where I celebrated somebody's passing just because they said words that I don't like. I'm trying to think of somebody who is somebody that passed away that probably said things that I don't like, and I made a post. Like I actually took time and typed out, "I'm happy this person died," because of their words. I don't think you will never find that on my page. If y'all do that, that's on you, man. If that's what brings you joy, individuals dying because individuals dying based on their words, individuals whose words you don't agree with, and that's the thing that makes you happy, You got some soul searching to do, man. So many more things in the world to be happy about. Yep. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Individuals, I don't want y'all to take this as oh, you know what? I mean, listen, you know, freedom of speech. Speech is free, but you know, there's no guarantee of what you say. You being safe from the things that you say. I mean, they killed Jesus. Anybody you can think of historically that had like some type of strong opinion, many of them have gotten taken out, and that just comes with the territory. That's what it is, you know. But it still doesn't make it right. But human beings are immature, and you know they can't logically break things down and have a discussion. So they just act like babies and they just kill each other. So. And then people cheer about it. It's corny.